Um, Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the regular media briefing of the Ministry of External Affairs. I don't have an announcement, so I'll open the floor for questions if there are any. Okay, why don't we start with you?
गुड आफ्टरनून सर, मैं कविता जोशी हूँ हरिभूमि न्यूज़पेपर से। सर मेरा सवाल ये है कि अभी जो 4 जुलाई को एससीओ का जो समिट होने वाला है, पहले इंडिया की तरफ से ये कहा गया था कि ये समिट मतलब इन पर्सन होगा और इसके लिए इनविटेशन भी इसी तरह से गए थे। और इनफैक्ट ये भी खबरें मीडिया में सामने आई हैं कि फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी ने राष्ट्रपति भवन का इंस्पेक्शन भी कर लिया था इवेंट को लेकर के। तो एकदम से एट अ मोमेंट इसको अब वर्चुअल ऑर्गेनाइज करने के लिए मतलब फिर अनाउंसमेंट हुआ मंत्रालय की तरफ से। तो क्या रीज़न है, मतलब क्या लगता है कि जो एससीओ के जो मेंबर कंट्रीज़ हैं, खासतौर पर चाइना, पाकिस्तान, इनकी तरफ से कोई प्रेशर था? मतलब एकदम से इतना बड़ा इवेंट है, इसको चेंज करने का डिसीजन क्यों लिया गया?
Okay.
थैंक यू।
Anybody else has questions related to SEO? Same question? No, then leave it. Anybody else? That's separately. If you have a separate way, please ask.
In a different way, I want to ask this question.
Same question?
Yeah.
No, then I have understood the question. I don't think you need to ask it in a different
Was it
way.
because that G15 summit is being held, so
G15?
G20
Oh.
meeting is being held, so was
Is there any link to G20?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry if you don't
But
introduce.
I have a different question. And
That
my
will come to
question
later on.
remains.
Anybody else on SEO? Any other elements of this? Okay, please, Neeraj. Microphone.
सर, अगर इन पर्सन मीटिंग की तैयारी चल रही थी तो क्या इनमें से चीन, रूस और पाकिस्तान के जो प्रमुख थे उनके साथ द्विपक्षीय बातचीत की तैयारी थी? कोई स्केड्यूल बनाया जा रहा था?
मैं नॉर्मली स्पेकुलेटिव पे क्वेश्चन मार्क करता हूँ, आपका तो एक और लेवल एक्स्ट्रा है. ओके, देखिए एससीओ, लेट मी ट्राई टू आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन एससीओ बिकॉज आई थिंक देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. जैसे आपने कहा, देखिए एससीओ समिट के बारे में या I will say that in English also if you would like. Okay, but she's asked in Hindi and it behoves me to answer. देखिए एससीओ समिट के बारे में आपने कुछ कमेंट किए जो मुझे नहीं समझ में आया. हमने तो अनाउंस कभी नहीं किया था कि ये फिजिकल होगा. आपने कहा कि फिजिकल हमने अनाउंस किया था, तैयारी हो रही थी, बहुत कुछ कहा जो मुझे तो मालूम नहीं, अज्ञात नहीं कि हमने कहा है ये. देखिए काफ़ी इंटरनेशनल समिट जो हैं अभी रिसेंट टाइम में वर्चुअल मोड में हो चुकी हैं, हो रही हैं. तो सारे जो फैक्टर्स को देखने के बाद, और कोई सिंगल फैक्टर नहीं था, कोई मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ फैक्टर्स हैं, हमने फिर डिसाइड किया कि ये जो समिट होगी एससीओ समिट, उसको बेस्ट इसी वर्चुअल मोड में किया जाए. और इसको सफल बनाने के लिए तैयारियां चल रही हैं और हम कॉन्फिडेंट हैं कि ये अच्छा रहेगा या सक्सेसफुल रहेगा. ऐसा कोई पर्टिकुलर डिसीजन नहीं लिया गया था, ना मुझे ज्ञात है कि हमने स्पेसिफिकली कोई फिजिकल समिट के लिए बुलाया था. अभी फॉर्मली सबको हमने कहा है कि वर्चुअल मोड में होगा 4 तारीख, और हम अपेक्षा यही कि सब ज्वाइन कर पाएंगे. You had mentioned in English, so let me just try to paraphrase that. Look, as you're aware, a lot of or many international summits in recent years have taken place in the virtual format. So taking all factors into account, and there's no single factor, it's a totality of various factors. We decided that the forthcoming summit of the SCO is best also done in the same manner, that is virtual. Preparations for the successful organizing and holding of this summit are underway, and we are confident that it will produce notable outcomes. It will be a success. There was queries about, we had already announced that it will be in physical format. I'm not aware of any such announcement or anything of that nature. We have now communicated to SCO partners about this event being held in virtual format on 4th of July. And we look forward, our expectation is that everybody would be able to join. नीरज जी, आपका प्रश्न था कि अगर होता तो हम क्या करते बायलैटरल में, तो जब होगा तो हम बता पाएंगे, अभी तो वर्चुअल में ही होगा. उसमें कोई बायलैटरल की गुंजाइश नहीं है. Okay, moving on to other topics. Yeah, okay, no, you raised your hand first. I'll come back to you.
Sir, Ayushi from ANI. So just wanted to follow up on the case of the Indian baby stranded in German foster care. Any update on a repatriation process? We also saw that Maharashtra CM has written to EM Jaishankar, and the mother is currently in Delhi. Is she holding any meetings with any official?
Okay. Who else was there? Related to that, go ahead.
Sir, they have also asked for the appointment with the EAM. So if you can share a bit of details, how and in which way further...
If you don't introduce yourself, you'll not
okay,
respond. I know that.
So my question is related to the
Appointment with the
case.
EM.
Yeah, and
I got
appointment
that
of
question.
the EM and the details of
Any other related question before we move to anything else? Okay, Yeshi, go ahead.
This is Yeshi Seli from the New Indian Express. Dr. Jaishankar is going to Namibia. Are there any more cheetahs that he's going to talk about, which are going to come to India? And secondly, this BRICS Friends Meet, which all countries are a part of that? There were reports that he had met the Saudi Arabian foreign minister yesterday. So is BRICS going to expand? Are there going to be more members?
That's a very different question. So is that your question?
That's my question too.
Expansion. No, on the cheetah part I understand, but on the friends meet. Okay, who had a hand up? Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'll come to you.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon. This
Yeah.
is Pia Krishankuti with The Print. I have two questions. One,
Let's start with one. This is a regular briefer. Anyway.
does the MEA have any comment on the ongoing power struggle that's unfolding in the Afghan embassy in New Delhi? And two,
I presume that's your characterization of it, not mine. But anyway, just clarify.
yes, there's a man called Qadir Shah who has allegedly
So-
been appointed by the Taliban, and he's no longer providing services to the embassy. So if you have any comment on that, that would
Okay.
be appreciated. And the second is the BRICS foreign ministers' joint statement that was released today noted the appreciation for relevant proposals of mediation and peace for ending the Ukraine war. So does that mean that India supports or endorses China's 12-point peace plan for Ukraine that it had released earlier in February? Thank you.
Sorry, Arya, okay, please go ahead. Settle it. I'll come back.
नीरज न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से सर अभी भारतीय दूतावास को भी एक्सेस नहीं दिया गया है और उनके परिवार वाले मिलना चाहते हैं विदेश मंत्री से क्या
Same question.
हाँ, वो भारतीय दूतावास को एक्सेस
Okay.
ठीक
Okay, there was somebody else's. Yeah, please, I'll take this round and then I'll come back.
After freezing visa of 3 Indian journalists out of 4, China is accusing now that there would be a zero correspondent left in Delhi, and both countries would not be having any journalists to cover each other's matter. So, what is your comment on Chinese accusation? And secondly, would you be issuing...
When did we move to two questions each?
Same thing, sir. Would you be issuing special visas for Chinese journalists for G20 meeting?
If you could introduce yourself, although I
Mukesh
know
Kaushik
I
from
know you
Dainik
well
Bhaskar.
for record. It's easier for my colleague who does the transcript. Okay, let me try to answer a set of questions. Which one? Related?
Yes, related.
Okay, please take the mic.
Aparajit Chakraborty from China Daily.
Yeah, okay.
China has also sought cooperation from India to resume normal life and work of journalists from both countries. So, what would you say on it?
Okay, let me take the case of the baby who is in Germany. Look, let me read out our perspective on this. You know, we've been addressing this as the important issue, a sensitive one. The Ministry of External Affairs and the Embassy of India, Berlin, have been persistently advocating for the return of Arya Shah to India. The child is an Indian national, and she was placed in the custody of Germany's Youth Welfare Office, or the Jugendamt, on 23rd September 2021, when she was 7 months old. She has now been in foster care for more than 20 months. Our efforts have been guided by the best interests of the child, which we believe can be fully realized only when she is in her home country, where her socio-cultural rights can be safeguarded. Accordingly, we have been requesting Germany to return the child to India. Our embassy has been repeatedly requesting German authorities to ensure that Arya's connection with her cultural, religious, and linguistic background is not compromised, and has sought consular access to the child, as well as cultural immersion at the Indian Cultural Center in Berlin. German Foreign Minister, Her Excellency Ms. Annalena Baerbock, as you would recall during her visit to India, had also conveyed that the German side was, and I quote, also bearing in mind the cultural identity of each child that is taken care of by the youth officers in Germany, end quote. Unfortunately, our requests in this regard for safeguarding Arya's national and cultural identity have not been met. We are dismayed to learn that the child was abruptly shifted away from her current foster parent to a specialized foster care arrangement. The manner in which this shift was carried out is a matter of concern. We and the parents believe that this rapid change is not in the child's best interest and could have far-reaching consequences for her emotional and mental development. India has a robust child welfare and protection system, and there are potential foster parents in India who are willing to bring up the child in her own socio-cultural milieu. The German authorities have been made aware of India's child protection system, and the details of potential foster parents have also been shared with them. Arya's continued placement in German foster care and infringement of her social, cultural, and linguistic rights is of deep concern to the Government of India and to the parents. We would like to reiterate that Arya Shah is an Indian national, and her nationality and socio-cultural background is the most important determinant of where her foster care is to be provided. We urge German authorities to do all that is necessary to send Arya to India at the earliest, which is also her inalienable right as an Indian national. We remain committed to ensuring the return of Arya Shah to India. That's a statement that I have with me. As regards the details of meeting EAM or not, we are in touch with the family. As you know, External Affairs Minister is currently overseas. She is in contact with our Europe West Division and other authorities. And as I said, we will continue to take this up with the German authorities. I hope that answers most of the question related to this unfortunate episodes. Moving on, I think there was question. Yeshi, your question was regards the BRICS meetings there. Look, there are two aspects, three actually. You end up asking. On the cheetahs, no, I have I have nothing to say. We have issued a statement about External Affairs Minister's visit to Namibia. We expect it to be a successful visit, and we look forward to the conversation that he will have. Yes, we have had from Namibia cheetahs that have come here, but I would be surprised if that is more cheetahs on the plane back. No, I don't think that's what's on the cards. As regards the BRICS Friends meet, look, let me let the South Africans list that Friends list. They are the ones who invited them. You would have seen the names from the conversation, but the meeting is today, so let me not comment on it before the meeting takes place. I think it's a little while from now. As regards the issue of expansion, you would have heard External Affairs Minister himself yesterday, I think it was, when he talked about in his statement, where he talked about approaching this positively from a positive frame of mind. I would also refer you to, I think it was paragraph 73 of the Beijing Declaration, where we said that we support promoting discussion among BRICS members on BRICS expansion process and stress the need to clarify the guiding principles, standards, criteria, and procedures for this expansion through the Sherpas channel on the basis of full consultation and consensus. I think that position is shared by all BRICS members, and we will continue to have these consultations on issues such as not just expansion, but also on institutional strengthening of BRICS. I think that has been the discussions in South Africa. But again, the meeting is still going on, so let me not prejudge anything beyond that. Pia, your question was, as you described this, as I think a power struggle, which I'm not willing to characterize. But let me just say that from our perspective, this is an internal matter of the Afghan embassy, and we hope that they would resolve it internally. Moving on to a question that you had asked about joint statement in the BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting. Look, it does express support to mediation efforts that are going on. I would not be sure whether to characterize the peace plan that you have referred to as a mediation effort or not. But those countries that are making the mediation efforts, we have always supported the idea of finding a way forward through diplomacy and dialogue. And any mediation effort that works in that direction, of course, would be welcome. But I would not like to specifically characterize any one initiative or otherwise. नीरज जी, आपका प्रश्न भी उसी में था, मैंने जो पूछा था कि एम्बेसी में जी हम जैसे मैंने कहा, हम वहाँ के जर्मन अथॉरिटीज़ के साथ कांटेक्ट में है और हमारी जो पोजीशन है क्लियर कर दिया हमने। मैंने अभी कहा जैसे विदेश मंत्री अभी बाहर हैं और यहाँ हमारे मंत्रालय के लोग ऑफिसर से वो कांटेक्ट में है, हम लोग जो सहायता दे सकते हैं हम दे रहे हैं। Mukesh, your question was on the journalists' issues for, I think, Indian and Chinese journalists. Look, let me. I've seen some media reports on it, so I don't know exactly what you have in mind. And your question was 0 Chinese journalists or something. So let me not go into individual cases. I hesitate talking about for various reasons of privacy. Otherwise, that I don't want to comment on it. Let me just say, all foreign journalists, including Chinese journalists, have been pursuing journalist activities in India without any limitations or difficulties in reporting or in doing their media coverage. Meanwhile, Indian journalists in China have been operating with certain difficulties, such as not being permitted to hire locals as correspondents or as journalists. As you know, foreign media in India here can and do freely hire local journalists to work for their bureaus in India. We also are aware that Indian journalists face several restrictions. That is, Indian journalists in China face several restrictions while getting access and traveling locally within China. Indian side supports and facilitates foreign journalists in India, and I'm sure you can attest to it, those of you who are foreign journalists here. At the same time, there should be no deviations from normal journalistic behavior and activities or from the provisions governing journalist visas that are issued to journalists. We would hope that Chinese authorities facilitate the continued presence of Indian journalists in working and reporting from China, and the two sides continue to remain in touch regarding this issue. So I think that would be our position. As regards your query about any visas for G20, look, we have been holding G20 meetings, as you know, and foreign journalists have been attending that. Those who are accredited here, they have also registered and accredited themselves. But journalists coming from abroad also, there is special accreditation open for that, and visas are issued for that specific purpose. So I think we will certainly be doing that for the G20 summit. I think Aparajit Chakravarti, your question was also on this, and I think I've covered my statement to your response. Okay, moving on. Any further questions? Kalol, please.
So there are protests taking place in Nepal, and also an official protest has come from Pakistan about the mural of the undivided India, or Akhand Bharat, that is in the new Parliament building of India. They have also pointed out that Prahlad Joshi ji has referred to the map and said there is a clear resolve for India to regain Akhand Bharat, or undivided India. So what's your official position on regaining Akhand Bharat?
Is that a foreign policy issue?
No, I'm asking you.
Okay.
I mean, what is
on the mural part? I'm willing to answer. On
the foreign policy issue as well.
I doubt it. Okay. Anybody else? Elena?
Yes, Elena Tas. Yesterday, foreign ministers of Russia and India had a bilateral meeting in Cape Town. We had...
Sorry, could you repeat?
Bilateral meeting.
Between?
Lavrov and Jaishankar.
Okay.
So we had some information from Twitter of Shri Minister of Foreign Affairs of India. So can you maybe give some more information? What can be read between the lines in this message by your minister? And if the ministers discussed the preparations for G20 summit in the light of this warrant order from International Criminal Court to Russian president.
Sorry, could you repeat the last part? They discussed the G20...
G20 summit preparations.
Yes.
For
that,
G20
that I understand.
summit, right?
What is the last part?
And I mean that we
warrant, you said?
Yes.
Warrant of ISIS.
Order from International Criminal Court.
I didn't get your full question, but I'll try to answer it. Okay. Any other query? If not, okay, sorry. No, you just asked. Both of you asked, sorry. Anybody else before? Huh? Your follow-up here? Okay, let me try with you first.
This is a follow-up on the Afghan question. You characterized it as an internal matter. I just wanted to know if the MEA would be renewing Mr. Qadir Shah, the alleged Taliban appointee, as charged affairs. Will the MEA be extending or renewing his visa, which reportedly expired on 12th?
And in what capacity are you asking this question? It's a privacy issue. It's a diplomatic. Why would I get into it? I've said what I have to say on that issue. I have nothing further to add.
Because you had mentioned it's an internal matter,
Yes,
but
and
there's
we will-
still a visa that's pending.
True, we will do whatever is required. As you know, just a general comment. I don't think any Afghan citizens who are here, their visas have been renewed as a larger policy, not with the diplomatic. So I don't want to get into the diplomatic aspect. Any other questions? Yes, Mr.
Is
Shakur.
there any possibility of bilateral meeting between EAM Jaishankar and Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang?
Where?
In BRICS.
You do know that the Chinese foreign minister is not in South Africa. He didn't go.
Okay.
He's not there. As far as I know, he didn't attend. There was somebody else who represented China. So I'm not aware. I don't think such a meeting is possible. Okay, I will close with that set of questions. Let me take your question first, Elena. Look, I don't have anything else to add. Maybe Minister Lavrov would have shared some readout of his meeting. Our minister has given a good sense of the meeting. Till he comes back, I certainly would not be able to add to that. I would be able to guess that yes, G20 preparations would have been a topic, but I'm just purely guessing, considering that it's an important issue and we are the presidency of G20, and we would hope that the Russians would be there. So maybe this came up, but I'm guessing here, and I don't like doing that. But as regards the ICC, look, we are not a state party to the Rome Statute, so I don't think this is an issue that I can comment on. I don't think we are involved in it in any which way. Kallol, regarding your query, look, you mentioned 2 or 3 different issues. Let me just try to answer the simple part, because the other parts I am not. This question was asked yesterday in the context of the Foreign Secretary's briefing on the Nepalese Prime Minister's visit, and whether this was raised. It wasn't raised. So I don't know if the protests are still going on. Certainly the Nepalese side did not raise it. I haven't seen any official protests from Pakistan. At least maybe I just missed it. Maybe it's come today. But I don't know if it's official protest or not. Yeah, I don't know. Is the Pakistanis put it out? I missed it. Look, let me just make a simple point here. The mural in question, I understand the mural in question depicts the spread of the Ashokan Empire and the idea of responsible and people-oriented governance that he adopted and propagated. That's what the mural and the plaque in front of the mural says. And I really don't have anything further to add to that. I'm certainly not going to comment on statements that other political leaders might have made. I think I answered most of the questions. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining for this weekly media briefing. Good evening.